What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I just got out of seeing a new horror movie that just dropped called Shelby Oaks, and this is directed by Chris Stuckman. Yes, the YouTube reviewer Chris Stuckman. Now, the movie follows a woman named Mia who is on the hunt to find her lost sister who used to be doing a found footage show. Years have passed since she's been missing, but Mia still hasn't given up the fight, and as she gets deeper into the whereabouts of her sister, shit just gets crazier. Now, I think that this movie was cool. Definitely wasn't the greatest thing, but it also wasn't bad either. I think it lands right in the middle of being solid. I would watch it again, and I did enjoy myself, but I think that there are clearly some issues with the film, and I'll get into those. I'm going to start with the strong point. I think Chris as a director is really good. Honestly, he knows how to use dread and tension to his advantage by how long he holds the shots and keeps you in the frame. I mean, there are legit moments when I was like kind of hiding behind my hand because of the way a scene was shot. You might hear a bump, a character will look to the side, and without a cut, the character might get up and look to see what's going on, and it just adds a whole different level of tension to the sequence. And I also think that his visual prowess is really good. He has a good attention to detail. He knows how and where to move the camera and how it should look. Like, again, the visual aspect of this movie is great. The atmosphere was always terrifying. I think that the color grading was phenomenal. I love the framing of everything. I mean, there's just really nice shots when Mia is walking through like this abandoned penitentiary, and you have this light just shining, cutting up the screen as you see like the pillars of light, and she's walking through. Just a lot of beautiful stuff, and especially in a horror movie, being able to keep the atmosphere as eerie as it is just by the way the imagery looks. Okay, so what stops this from being a better movie, I believe, is the script. I personally feel like, and this is just me, I could be wrong, but it almost feels like Chris wanted to make a found footage movie, but people or a person told him that he can't do that as a full movie, because the first 15 minutes are a found footage mockumentary style film, and that whole section is wonderful, fantastic. I was like, oh yeah, we're in for something. And I feel like his heart was mostly into that, and he was able to bring out the scares and just stack the dialogue well, because it is a mockumentary, and that just patch of movie presents so much information. But once you switch over to the movie side of things, there isn't a lot of dialogue, and I feel like that's kind of what takes away from the movie. A lot of times when it comes to films, the character of the movie itself is in the story and in the script, with the dialogue, the way people talk, the way people act, the way people are dressed, how people bounce off of each other, you know, how the characters are written, if you will. But here, you don't really get a lot of dialogue because you're only with Mia for a lot of the time. And I will say the actress who played her, she did a fantastic job, because all of the emotions and things weigh on her. She doesn't talk a lot, but she has to convey all of these different instances of situations she's put in, from being pissed off, being saddened, being angry, being a detective herself, and just having to deal with the realizations once the story unfolds. So she did an amazing job with what she had. But again, there's not a lot of dialogue, and I feel like there are a lot of dry spots in what we're doing, because there are moments that are drawn out that I feel like could have been shortened, but it seems like they were kept in for length's sake, just to check off that 90-minute box. I just think if there was more dialogue and or a tighter story here, that wouldn't have mattered, and it would have been a lot better. I could also not front and chalk that up to a budget, because there are certain characters that you meet only one time and you never circle back to see them again. So it just felt like the movie didn't have enough personality in it, because again, you're only with one character for the most part, and she's just gung-ho on finding her sister, so you don't even really get a feel for what kind of person she is. And the influences are definitely present. You can see a lot of M. Night here, you can see a lot of Lake Mungo as he described, a lot of Blair Witch in here as far as inspiration, and it still feels like its own thing as well. I say that it doesn't feel like it's just a blatant rip off of those films. I think that this could be classified as its own story, just inspired by things. And another movie and sets of movies that it kind of reminds me of are those 2000s paranormal movies, specifically like The Ring, how characters will stumble across something and then they got to do their research and find things out about what's going on. And This movie goes down that route, but I feel like, again, what takes away from that is the lack of dialogue. A lot of it is show and tell, and I understand that that's a big thing with directing. It's like, show, don't tell. But I feel like there are certain things that you should tell, just for sakes of making the story make sense, because there's images of what's going on, but it flashes so quickly as you're just getting it all. It's like, okay, I think I know what's going on, but I'm not really sure. So you'll have those moments that present things visually that are really fast, but you might have a dialogue dump about something, and you got to kind of connect the pieces in your head, but it's not like you have a streamline of what's going on. It's like pieces are just kind of scattered, and you got to put the puzzle together. I feel like there should still be some type of connection with what's going on screen, and the audience being able to say, like, okay, so this is that. And let me not say it's completely just scattered, because you can definitely put pieces together as to what's going on and the root of everything happening. But some of it, you're just kind of wondering, like, okay, so what do they have to do with the story? Why is it this that's happening, and what's the point of this person being this, and other questions that follow. But overall, I did have a good time, especially because of the atmosphere and Chris's ability to keep that thick tension and spooky aura around the whole movie. And I would say for that experience alone, I do think it's worth seeing in a theater, especially if you've supported Chris Stuckman over all of these years on YouTube. I think that he has a bright future as a director. This was a solid jump, because it takes some balls to put out a movie when you've been doing critiques of films yourself. And honestly, this isn't a bad movie, so nobody really can say shit to the guy. I would watch again. I will buy it on Blu-ray when it does release. So I did like it enough to cop it. I think you should give it a try yourself. So if you've seen Shelby Oaks, let me know in the comments what you thought about the movie. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know how you feel about it overall without trying to spoil it, because the movie did just drop. And if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, thank you. And until next time, peace.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.